I never feel more frightened than in a large group of moms. I never feel more like an outsider. Are you panicking? Should I be panicking as an artist? Are we all panicking?
Yeah.
Or are we going to trust? I'm afraid I'll actually die, and on the other side be like, motherfucker. Like, what? You gotta be kidding me. I think that's something I learned this year with you was, wait a second. What do I really want?
When it's night and you're nowhere, you're listening to Why Are We Here?
No. Why are we here?
Why are we here?
Why are we here?
A podcast about being lost and trying to get found.
Or rather, creating art, raising kids, and not losing hope in the middle of nowhere. I'm Dawn Goodwin.
And I'm Chris Reno, and this is our second episode.
Feels like so much writing on this now, because it's going to be a year before the next one.
So we recorded material for a second episode the next month, a month or so later.
Yeah.
And we never finished it.
Right.
So what happened to us?
I think we had skipped over some steps. We had a lot of catch up to do. We were two people that had lived alone for a long time. And here we were, like, just jumping into this relationship, bringing all kinds of unexamined patterns we didn't even know what to do with.
Patterns that we had to discover first.
We had to discover them first. Yeah, because being alone for a long time, you have a lot of time to blame other people for your...
Unchallenged.
Yeah, completely unchallenged and victorious. Things were fine as long as I was alone. I could manage my life just fine alone. And dream about a relationship, how great it would be, what it would look like, what it would smell, taste, feel, sound like. And then when you get in it.
Yeah, I had a lot of stuff.
We had to normalize.
Yeah.
I was also learning how to enjoy life. And also I didn't have any pull to write anything.
Which weighed on you.
It weighed on me, right? Because like, oh, I'm losing at life. Like, I got off the wagon and the train is leaving the station and I'm here having lunch and I'm enjoying it. And all that tryharding I've done, I wasn't living. You know, the writing of the books were an escape. They were an escape to, my life was not so great. So I really was only, my portal for enjoying life was in the books. So I got afraid when I met you that, if I start enjoying my life.
You get one thing or the other.
Right, one thing or the other. All or nothing, which is living in the poles.
You get a relationship or a life as an artist.
Right.
But not both.
Right. Right, and that really, really worried me. I did have this epiphany about spinning my wheels. There's this need to be someone. Like, who I am as is not enough. And I'm going to have to be someone, and I better hurry up and be that thing. That's a real competitive and impatient place. And it's also born of the feeling that I'm not enough. I've really got to strive. I got to try hard. And I think that's something I learned this year with you was, wait a second. What do I really want? Like, I keep striving for this time and place when I'm going to have a great life. And here I was getting to have a great life right now, just by doing simple things. Simple things. You know, not accomplishing anything particularly.
Other than finishing a 2-season web series and a feature film.
Yeah. One of the things we were talking about in an episode that never aired was the bullshit of marketing, of trying to market yourself as an artist.
Well, let's hear something from that.
Well, I guess I had this expectation that when you find all these things that flow, like all this team of people with a common vision and energy and talent and the equipment and the time and the dedication. Okay, this is snowballing. This is going somewhere. There's momentum here. There's something happening. I finally hooked into my purpose. my crampons are working, man. I'm gonna make it up this ice wall. And then silence, tumbleweeds. And then, so I crank up my marketing machine. I do my social media, do my hashtags, do my outreach. I send it to people. We go to festivals. And silence. Like nothing. Like yelling into the void. Is that timing? Is that the mechanisms of timing? Then I think I'm not ready. There's something I haven't learned yet. There's something I have to learn first. But then I think about all these people who are making so much art and they haven't learned shit. Like there's so many people at the freaking captain's chair holding the wheel of the boat. And they're just steaming a cruise liner through our cultural consciousness, making our trends, and they don't know shit. And they haven't learned anything.
They're making cheeseburgers.
They're making massive, just filling the Caribbean with cheeseburgers and cheeseburger runoff. They don't even treat the cheeseburger runoff. They just dump it.
Okay, so when you're making bread, sometimes there are times when you put the yeast in the water and you realize the water isn't quite the right temperature. Mm. And so that miscalculation of a few degrees results in hours of waiting. It's a mathematical process of doubling. The doubling happens at a rate determined by how warm the water is. So doubling is powerful. You can get to big numbers really quickly. But if the water is not warm enough, that process is going to happen much slower. So I feel like the process of finding an audience depends on some kind of temperature that we don't have control over.
Is that what they call magic? Serendipity? Luck?
Maybe so.
So how do you not lose hope? Like in the white space, if the water is a few degrees off. So that's my question of mine. I constantly, how do you not lose hope when there's silence?
Is that when you just keep making work?
Yeah, that's what my friend John always tells me. Just keep making inventory. Keep put it in your inventory. Keep on going. I can do that. Yeah, that was the conversation that kind of erupted and really kind of turned me a few degrees in a totally different direction, which was, I constantly live with this pressure that I'm going to get to the end of my life and look back and be like, oh, nothing ever worked out. Like, nothing I created was ever seen or heard. And all this time spent trying. I'm afraid I'll actually die and on the other side be like, motherfucker. Like, what? You got to be kidding me. All this time with all these dreams, and I was just going to die. I mean, I'm sure many a soul has passed and said, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And so, like, what do I do with that? And Lisa said, Lisa, my therapist. Lisa, our therapist said.
Our therapist.
She said, I think what'll happen is you'll get to the end of life and look back and say, nothing much mattered. So if nothing much matters, then you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. And I was like, isn't that rippled through me like a lovely ocean wave? It's like, oh, that's what I've been doing with you. I've been doing what the fuck I want to do. My focus has kind of really drifted from, oh, I gotta be somebody. I gotta market. I gotta succeed. I gotta get out there. I mean, I did that for a while. Like I was still tryharding. But so this conversation where she's like, do whatever you want. Because in the end, it doesn't matter. So you'll look back and on the days when you did what you wanted to do, like that's where the meaning is. Not in the trying to get fame, notoriety, money, an ego boost, a thumbs up, a like, an upvote.
Well, Grace this week has, she had a week of sudden
Oh yeah, on TikTok.
virality.
She got really obsessed for a few days making cat videos, making 6-second cat videos with music on TikTok. And one of her videos went suddenly viral and overnight got thousands of likes. And it was heady. And we were all kind of like, whoa, what? And woke up with these directives. She has to make more cat videos. And I'd see her, harassing the cats, trying to get the right shot. And then just the other day, she's like, I deleted TikTok. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I just didn't like how it made me feel. The next day, I was down to 8 likes, and it made me depressed. And I don't want to be in control of how my day goes, how I feel about myself. It's like, that girl. I don't know. I hope there's a lot like her in her generation that are getting cynical about these algorithms, upvotes, likes, and views. That's when I jumped into the marketing pool, right in the hot white center of, hey everybody, share and subscribe. Make sure you click like. Check out my page. Click like and subscribe. And that's the thing that fell off the wagon too over the last year was I guess I've come to terms with the fact that I'm never gonna be a person that says, hey everybody, like my videos? Make sure you hit like on that video. Did you like it? Did you put like on that? Did you share it with your friends? I'm never gonna be that person.
That says, let me remind you to like me.
Yeah, and then because as a viewer, whenever somebody asked me to do that, I wouldn't, just because you had compelled me to. Only time I've ever liked and subscribed is because I genuinely got something out of it and wanted more, not because I was told to. Oh, that also ties into something I thought about recently, which is the changing your intention, which is my intention's always been for an ego boost for myself, even though I didn't realize that. My beginner's intention was to get attention. The purpose I've been serving is to get things off of my chest that matter to me, things I'm feeling. I want to make my things important to you, but I don't think I've explored providing some sort of service. How can I use my talents to serve? And I don't mean that in a Christian sense, because they've hijacked that whole notion of selfless service. I don't mean that. I just mean I've been through pain. I've been through suffering. Now, and I've healed myself in different capacities in different ways. And so do I have anything to offer those people who are suffering and so in that way alleviate everybody's suffering? Because I really do think that life is hard and it is full of suffering. And so much of art makes it worse. So much of what's on television, on social media makes it worse. That's another component of successful marketing. You have to have a big network and a big group of friends. There are artists who think that they're freaking awesome simply because they have a huge group of friends who cheer them on, like hundreds of friends. It can make you feel really, intimately famous. because your hundreds of friends who you fit in with cheer on your every move locally. I'm not too big into joining clubs or being parts of communities. I tend to just stay under the radar. I never feel more frightened than in a large group of moms. So, I never feel more like an outsider than I do surrounded by other moms, because I just feel like my impulses don't fit in. Like, they don't seem to match. Like, I always want to say the wrong thing. I cheer for the wrong team. I make the wrong comment. I alienate people. Like, I open my mouth and maybe Georgia is meant to force me to reckon with this narrow code of conduct of behavior, especially for a parent, especially for a mother. When I went into to my kid's school, to share about my career, that felt very dangerous. That my books would even bisect the realm that my kids live in. That would just bring shame upon everybody. Because unless you want to write children's books or religious books, or is that's just a construct? I've decided that. I decided over and over again that I don't belong there. And then it becomes true, and then I just hide. And that's why I can't market anything, because I don't have a network. I don't have a group of friends, because I alienate myself and I tell myself I don't belong. So I never reach anybody. I want to know how you feel about that. What do you think about self-promotion? And
Well, I think one reason why I chose cinematography and editing and sound design as interests, as wheelhouses to explore, because they're craft-centered. You get to focus on the joys of craft rather than the pressures of self-promotion. So on social media, when I encounter my peers in the act of self-promotion, it always gives me the willies. So as I examine myself feeling that, I wonder, well, is it because the act of self-promotion itself is kind of gross? Or does it just mean that I'm lazy? And that I may get to the end of my life and not have worried enough about self-promotion and establishing a long and storied career? Or is it just that the act of making things is satisfying enough and joyful enough that I'm satisfied? And I think it probably tends more to that I am content to take the opportunities I can to make things, to contribute to things, without worrying too much about a legacy. But I think as a earlier as a filmmaker, when I was woodshedding, especially thinking that I was making a great movie, I was invested in this decade-long project, gathering all this footage, is what I felt was this really rich archive of 1,000 stories. I was making a film about friends, and the only time I was willing to see those friends was if I was also prepared to work. I would often skip a social occasion with them if I didn't feel like filming, because I felt obligated, once beginning this project, to continue, and that there was no stopping point. So if I was going to tell this story, I had to always be ready to tell this story, and I connected living, being out, being social, being connected to people with the act of filmmaking. If I was not willing to do one, I was also not willing to do the other. I guess I'm treating my filmmaking career the same way that I treat flipping through records in record bins. Some days you're going to find some amazing things, sometimes you're not. And I've gathered archives of footage the same way I've gathered boxes and boxes of records. They become burdensome. So I find myself in a place where I've got ideas for things that I want, but I also don't feel a pressure to be making something or to be self-promoting.
Does that worry you?
It does not worry me. And the fact that it does not worry me worries me.
I shouldn't say.
So maybe that's something you identify with.
It is. It is. Am I being too impatient, or is life short? Which one is it? I can almost feel it in other people's self-promotion. Oh, I need to self-promote is born of panic. I can feel the panic.
Yeah. And that's part of the icky part of it.
Well, right, because it's like, should we all be? It's like we can smell blood in the water. Should we? Are you panicking? Should I be panicking as an artist? Are we all panicking?
Yeah. Right.
Or are we going to trust? I mean, that's the thing. Like, I honestly don't see much difference between when I was actively self-promoting and when I'm not.
Is self-promotion a thing that gets you in the door, or is it simply something that maintains your status?
I think it's being born of panic. I think it's about your status. I think it's about waking up in the middle of the night and thinking, oh my God, the world's forgotten me. I've got to make sure the world doesn't forget me. Has the world forgotten you, or have you forgotten you? Like, that's what I realized. Like, and when I was waking up in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, thinking my life, it's night and I'm nowhere, which is recurring pattern. It doesn't matter. Isn't it? That's like the antithesis to the patriarchy. It doesn't really matter. So what does matter? Well, I don't know. Do what you want to do. What do you want to do? I mean, if you want to get on social media and tell everybody how awesome you are and what a great year you're having and how everybody wants your shit and how much success you're just raking in. And people need to just stop because you can't take any more success. Like,
I don't know why that tickles me so much.
Well, because it's not true. It's not true. Like, nobody's. What's that scientific theory that after a certain point of your needs being met, you just level up, but the hunger never ceases. Beyond $50,000 a year. At $50,000 a year, you're able to grocery shopping without fear. But beyond that point, your life is like a bell curve of happiness. Once you've met your needs and then you keep earning more money, you don't get happier. You just have a higher expectations of material goods. Like your car should be a $100,000 car versus a $20,000 car, but you still have the baseline of unhappiness. I think it's the same with success. Like, okay, yeah, now I've got 10 episodes. They want 10 episodes from me on Hulu, but I'm still unhappy. I still feel like a loser. I'm in this state of competition now. I got to prove myself, but then what's going to happen in 3 years, 5 years? Like, it's the illusion that you can't really see when you're at the bottom of the mountain, but you can see it when you're at the top. It's like when really rich people say, yeah, money doesn't get you happiness. I'm like, yeah, fuck yourself. But I have moments where I can see that's where it makes sense. It's nice to know you got something out there. Just keep an SOS in a bottle somewhere, bobbing. Is it an SOS? Can I redo that metaphor? Because I don't think it's an SOS. Because that SOS means you're trying to escape your life, and I am actively creating a life I can enjoy with all my flaws, with somebody who can handle them. Ain't no rednecks who can handle this shit, Chris. It's so true.
You've been listening to Why Are We Here? a podcast about being lost and trying to get found. It was produced and edited by Don Goodwin and Chris Reno.
The music in this episode is by Ty Boffman. You can hear more of his stuff on YouTube at Glassbender Official.
Join us next time.
And thanks for listening. You know, last time we recorded, you were a lot farther away. You're right here.
Shall I move away a bit?
No. No.
Does that throw you?
No. You're just really cute. You're really cute.
Okay, we'll have to edit all this out. Or keep it.